Hello again everyone, Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks for Week 8 of the 2014-15 NFL season. So first game is going to be, I'm going to take Denver at home over San Diego. I know, like I say often, don't be flabbergasted by that pick. Denver is everything but invincible at home during the regular season. They're #1 scoring offense right now in the league, 31.5 points per game. However, San Diego did hand Denver their last home loss during the regular season. Denver, though they sought retribution last year and got it in the postseason over San Diego, I'm sure this is on their mind as well. I like Denver at home. Now, in the next game, I'm going to take Detroit on the road over Atlanta. Now, Atlanta has plummeted lately. They've lost 4 consecutive, and their point total per game has dropped in each of these games. Detroit's defense is relentless. They're #2 in scoring defense right now. I see them putting a lot of pressure on quarterback Matt Ryan, and I expect Detroit to win this game. So Detroit, I'm picking them to win. Now, the next game, I'm going to take Kansas City at home over the St. Louis Rams. Kansas City has played well in recent weeks. They've won 3 of their last 4, and the only loss in that game was to San Francisco by 5 points. That was a fairly quality game for them. St. Louis, they won last week. They played with a lot of passion and heart, but I'm still cynical as far as this team goes. In recent years, they generally don't put consecutive quality games together, and I see St. Louis losing this game. So as Kansas City, I'm picking them to win. Now the next game, I'm going to take Houston on the road over Tennessee. Now Houston has running back Arian Foster. He's second in rushing yards right now in the league. They also have a very menacing, imposing, I say his positive way, defender with J.J. Watt. I mean, he's arguably playing like the best defender in the NFL right now. And Tennessee is 5-9 in their last 14 home games. And a couple weeks ago, they did everything but lose to Jacksonville at home. I like Houston to win this one on the road over Tennessee. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home over the Minnesota Vikings. Now, these are 2 deplorable teams. I mean, you can make an argument either way. On virtue of Tampa Bay being at home, I do like them. 2 of the last 3 games that Tampa Bay has played at home were competitive, though losing one of them. Now, Minnesota, their quarterback, I believe Teddy Bridgewater, he's kind of a little bit vacillating, fickle quarterback. I mean, he seems good one week, then the next week he can't really do quite as much. They got to go on the road. They don't have Adrian Peterson. Tampa Bay, I like them at home. Now, the next game, well, I'm going to take Seattle on the road over Carolina. Now, Seattle, despite showing mortality this season, I think they're still a little bit better than Carolina. They don't quite have that tenacious defense that they had last season. People know that it's not impregnable anymore and that the defense can be pierced. However, Seattle definitely has good cornerbacks. They have their pride, and they're not. I don't see them starting out 3-4. They're 3-3 right now. Carolina, they have quarterback Cam Newton. Losing wide receiver Steve Smith has obviously been to their detriment. But Carolina, they will keep it close. They are at home, and I'm going to take Seattle in a competitive game on the road to beat Carolina. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals at home over Baltimore. Now, Cincinnati looked abhorrent last week. They were shut out by Indy. They looked like they were one of the worst teams in football. But Indy's really playing at a phenomenal level. Cincinnati, we talk about near invincibility at home. Well, Cincinnati's won their last 12 home games. They're going to be looking for redemption this week. They're going to come fired up. They're going to play with a lot of ferocity. Baltimore actually is the #1 scoring defense in the league. You know how I always make jokes about them not having the same ravenous defense they once had, but they look like they have it this season, and they will make this a close game. These games in recent years tend to be tight between Baltimore and Cincy, but I still like the Bengals at home. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins on the road to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Miami would have won 3 consecutive going into this game if not for a little trickeration by a quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers. Jacksonville has been sacked more than any team in the NFL right now. I think they had a good game last week. I understand that, but it was only one game and 1 win. And Jacksonville really doesn't have the proclivity in my mind to have 2 consecutive really good games. And I think the way Miami has played, I like Miami to go in there and beat them. And it might be a competitive game. Jacksonville has picked up the pace a little bit in recent weeks, but Miami still, I like them on the road to win this one. Now the next game, I'm going to take the New England Patriots at home over the Chicago Bears. The Patriots right now, they're actually #1 in passing defense and allowing really playing very well on the passing defensive end. 208 yards per game given up on average, and they've won 3 consecutive games after being annihilated by Kansas City. They seem to have rejuvenated themselves and gotten things turned around. And this team, they've won 4 of their last 5, I believe, against NFC opponents. Chicago, they have a little dissension and turmoil on this team right now in their locker room. They're a team that might be in a little disarray, and it'll be interesting to see if they can put all this behind them and get ready for this game. But New England at home, I do like them to win this game. Now the next game, the New York Jets I'm going to take them at home over the Buffalo Bills. Yes, I know the Jets have only won 1 game this season. However, they've been competitive in a number of them. One really bad game was when they lost to San Diego 31-0. Now, Jets, despite being 31st in passing yards, they've won the last 4 over Buffalo at New Jersey, and they dominated this team in recent years on their home turf, and the average margin of victory is close to 16 points per game during that 4-game stretch. Now, Buffalo, as many of you know, they've lost their running back C.J. Spiller. He is going to be out for this week. And also, Buffalo's had trouble putting up points in recent weeks. It was all they could do to come back and get that miraculous victory at the end against Minnesota last week. So for these reasons, I like the New York Jets at home to prevail over the Bills. Now, the next game, I'm going to take Arizona at home over Philadelphia Eagles. Arizona is 9-2 in their last 11 home games. As many of you know, Carson Palmer is back. I expect him to play very well. Philadelphia is 7th in passing yards. They come off a 27-0 demolition of the New York Giants in their last game. I see this game to be very close. Philadelphia has played very well. They're 5-1 this season, half a game out of first place in the NFC East. However, Arizona, on virtue of them being at home, I like them to win this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns at home to defeat the Oakland Raiders. Cleveland, 2-1 at home this season. They've played much better overall for this season. However, they had that really a lackluster performance in the last game against Jacksonville. I expect that to be a fluke or an aberration. Oakland has lost 12 consecutive, actually, regular season games dating back to last season. I mean, they've been lamentable. They just can't seem to get a victory no matter what they do, whether it's a close game or it's a blowout. Oakland, I just have to figure they're going to keep losing until they just prove otherwise. So I like the Cleveland Browns to win this one at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts on the road over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, the Pittsburgh seemed revived this past week. They played very well against Houston. They were down 13-0. They showed the resiliency and being able to battle back from adversity. However, Pittsburgh has not won consecutive games this season. They've alternated wins and losses. So by that, it would be easy to say they would lose this one, but that's not really the main reason. The main reason is that Indianapolis, their offense has been phenomenal. They're number one in total offense. Andrew Luck is leading the NFL in passing yards. They have the number 2 receiver in terms of yards gained, and T.Y. Hilton, 711 yards. And I just feel that Indy is the hot team right now. I expect them to go in and win, emerge victorious, but it should be a tight game. Now, next game, I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints at home over Green Bay. Everything points to Green Bay winning. I understand they're number 1 in interceptions in the league. They have 10 INTs right now. Aaron Rodgers, their quarterback, is playing lights out. They've won 4 consecutive. They've scored at least 27 points in all those 4 victories. However, New Orleans, it's desperation time for them. They had a game get away from them last week on an interception uncharacteristic of Drew Brees late in the game, and I believe, Drew Brees is still a very good quarterback to me. He's 4th in passing yards right now. They are at home. New Orleans tends to be a completely different team at home than they are on the road. For those reasons, I like the Saints to win at home. Now, last but not least, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win at home over the Washington Redskins. Now, running back DeMarco Murray, he's on a torrid pace right now. As many of you know, he's rushed for 100 or more yards in 7 consecutive games, or over 107 consecutive games. 913 total right now. He's amassed. Tony Romo now has the balance and the help that he needs to have this team as a complete team right now. Now, Washington, actually, their quarterback, Kirk Cousins, has been a pleasant surprise. He's 4th in the NFL in completions of 20 yards or more right now with 27. He's played very well, actually. And Washington, though, has to go on the road. The team on a whole is not very good. And Dallas is just playing lights out right now. They are at home, and I expect and I do predict them to win this game fairly decisively, at least by 10 points, if not more. Now, anyway, people, let me show you my picks on my computer screen. You know my routine, so just hold on a second, and I'm going to show them to you on my computer screen, give you a quick rundown of my predictions for this week. Okay, here we go, people. Denver over San Diego, Detroit over Atlanta, Kansas City over St. Louis, Houston over Tennessee, Tampa Bay over Minnesota, Seattle over Carolina, Cincinnati over Baltimore, Miami over Jacksonville, New England over Chicago, Jets over Buffalo, Arizona over Philadelphia, Cleveland over Oakland, Indy over Pittsburgh, New Orleans over Green Bay, and last but not least, Dallas over Washington. Well, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment for Week 8 of the 2014-15 season. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my picks and analysis for Week 9 of the 2014-15 NFL season. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.